but not really sure.
That's definitely what I was going to say as well. They always put Z-Freak on a roaming hero, basically, and Alliance definitely prioritizes five-man team fights a little bit more. Like yesterday, they ran, Spectre, Silencer, Batrider, like all team fight heroes, and it looked really good on paper, but they just weren't getting enough advantage out of their fights.
The one thing that you could say about Complexity, though, downside is when they go for these pickoff style plays, we saw their what happened in the third game against Liquid, where they had complete map control, but they just couldn't close out the game. Eventually, Liquid just say, okay, well, we're done with getting picked off. We're just going to push your base, see what you can do. Game just kind of ends in Liquid's favor almost immediately. But something weird about these teams, Paul, is I feel like Complexity might be the slightly better team, imperceptible. But I think Alliance, if they come into a tournament, give them a higher chance to win the tournament.
Why?
If that makes sense. I don't know what it is. I feel like having that experience, going to TI3, winning all these lands, I think they have that it factor that people always underestimate, where they can just pull it off.
Where they can adapt and learn and build?
Yeah, whereas Complexity feel just like a solid team. I don't know how much of an outstanding performance we've seen for them so far.
Have you spent time with them?
Yeah.
Okay, one of the things that strikes me most about them is that burning desire to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that also plays into account. Yeah, I agree with you on the Alliance side, but I also think the hunger and desire is probably greater from Complexity than it is of any other team right now. Maybe save Team Liquid, who definitely want to win a LAN, right?
Yeah.
Did you?
Oh. What did you do to Alliance?
I'm just saying, I already caught this morning anyway. We already discussed it off camera. It was already going to happen.
Paul's the new Shiver.
Oh, God. It happened.
So...
Okay, so you both go for Jakiro. Why pick it up second?
Yeah, that's why I'm a bit weirded out right now. Like, that's the sort of thing you leave till the end of the draft, guys. What are you doing?
What the?
That is a lot of pushing. And it's a bit of team fight. And at least your draft open more than anything. You want to see what the third and fourth pick are from Complexity.
And it's kind of a cool combo now. Like Jakiro's cast range on Macro Power is way longer. It doesn't matter how many items you have. You can be anywhere close to the fight, and you're going to be able to put that down where the roar is, and that's going to put out a lot of damage. And it stays there for a long time. Like there are times on certain parts of the map where Jakiro is the most OP support. Genuinely, if you get somebody in a long corridor and they're kind of caught there and they have to stay there. So there's some ways that Jakiro is very, very good.
Casted,
how triggered are you right
I've casted 13 Jakiro games.
And I'm sure they lost all of them. But
yes.
Yeah,
I'm saying there's some value about Jakiro. It's just there's definitely better heroes in almost all situations.
You got to see the rest of the draft first. I'm more than willing to be proven wrong. That's the thing. I'm not going to say, all right, Jakiro's the worst shooter.
Is everyone aware of the Blitz curse on Jakiro?
13.
Yeah. 12 games or 13 now?
I think it's 13 now.
It's 13 now after the one we had the other day.
Yeah, Fnatic.
Almost as good as Newbie.
Yeah.
It's not even close to Newbies.
You have to get like 10 more Jakiro losses.
What are they at, like 29?
29.
Yeah, it's 29 now.
That's pretty insane. I've actually seen a lot of Jakiros lose as well. It was picked up a lot going into ESL as a counter to OD. Didn't really work out very well.
OD was unquestionably the better hero.
I haven't seen Jakiro win in a very long time. I definitely agree. That's the only change though, is macro power, maybe some item things, but...
I'm willing to be proven wrong, and I want to be. I want to see how this hero is supposed to look when it min-maxes. So I don't want anybody to think that I hate this hero, it's just haven't seen it been successful so far.
Jakiro hater.
But what's the best way of playing Jakiro? Because we've seen it played on the off lane by Ice Ice Ice.
I was gonna go on. She cut me off.
Better?
You can do it offlane. Just the issue, when I think this is part of the thing that locks Jakiro into a box, is that you gotta max out Liquid Fire so you can take towers, but then your damage is low until you're like level 10. So if you have a support like that and you're good at pushing towers, but you need to win team fights, then it gets you into this weird place. So in some ways, maybe you should be going dual breath, Liquid Fire equally, or maybe you max dual breath by 7, and then you can throw out, what is it, 450 damage or 400 damage every 5. It's 500. Is it 500? I can't remember. It's a lot of damage, I believe. It does 80 times 5. It's 400 damage every 10 seconds with your first skill in AoE, and it applies slow for 5 seconds. It's not a bad skill. It's just we don't see Jakiro be reliable.
Yeah. Last time it was played, obviously, was day 1 during the wildcards. Fnatic pulled it out as a 5th pick. Played alongside a Doom, a Darkseer, Lifesteal, and a Puck, so still some possibilities on that.
But then you've got like
they
team fight.
They faced this Void, the Veno, Night Stalker, a Tinker, and a Clinks.
Sounds like Jakiro died a lot that game.
It did, yeah. It died an awful lot that game.
It sounded okay synergy-wise, because Puck ult, keep him in place, Macro Pyre can do damage for 7 seconds, but people, they move out of the fire.
I'm really interested to see where Swindles goes now. whether he focuses anything on that, whether it's thrown them in any way, whether they come up with something crazy or they just go standard DK. Okay, fine.
Well, they're already off what they normally do since Alliance did ban Darkseer. They've been opening Darkseer in all of their drafts the whole tournament, and there's some other teams that are moving into that now. So they're already slightly different than you normally expect them to be. Maybe Doom is their alternate here, since they didn't end up getting banning
Interesting
that
that that Alliance banned out the Night Stalker, because that was what was murdering Jakiro in that last game for Fnatic. So
Everything murders.
I mean,
them.
everything was murdering Jakiro. I agree, but in particular,
I think Dragon Knight as being a high tier mid pick is people know too. That's Radiant side, right?
yeah, these three have proved very popular so far in the 687.
Radiant side DK too is a lot better to play for people that don't know.
He probably counters Jakiro. He probably kills a lot of
What
dragons.
makes you favor Radiant's Dragon Knight over
It's
Dire Dragon Knight?
I guess we could just talk about it. Whenever you play Radiant side versus Dire side, whenever you have those mismatches where you're going to get owned in the mid lane, you almost always want the disadvantage hero to be on Radiant side because of the way that the hill's set up and structured. A, it makes it easier to CS. B, it's a lot harder to gain.
Even with the changes?
Yes.
But that changes?
Yeah, the map changes.
As a mid player,
Doesn't matter that much.
as a mid player, there's almost no hero that I prefer playing on Dire side.
Fair enough.
Maybe stack clears because you can stack those two camps so easy, but that's the only thing I can think of.
For Radiant side, you stack.
Maybe you can't stack the medium and the large at the same time. You can do both on Dire side.
Yeah,
Usually
but think about how the map is set up. You can do it so much easier for yourself.
Yeah, it's because it's closer, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
There's just a lot of different things that kind of play into those elements.
I'm really liking the Alliance draft right now. Phoenix, Sunray, it's very good against strength heroes. That's almost everything that Complexity has at the moment.
Doom and Lion, yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have anybody that the Phoenix heal synergizes with just yet. But Phoenix is a great pick right now.
Yeah. The
Still
Sunray
waiting
does
for-
quite well against Dragon Knight.
S4 and Loda heroes. Is this a time where Alliance picks up the Alchemist for themselves since they already got Phoenix on their side?
It's pretty good in a game like this. The downside, of course, there's a lot of control on the side of coL, and most of the time, if you're an Alchemist player, you don't want to get BKB if you can help it.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna say something stupid. What about Jakiro mid versus Dragon Knight?
That sounds. You don't punish enough.
Sounds
I
like
think.
it's decent in the lane, but it's awful later, maybe. It
You
would
also-
kind of offset his push.
No, but you also have way too much armor and regen. I think you can deal with
You think it
Jakiro quite well.
offsets?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, Dragon Knight, if you just get a kill on Jakiro, you can push the tower so easily.
Goes vice versa though, same thing.
Yeah, but I think it's harder for. Because you're Radiant side, I think it's harder to gank that DK. It's really easy to set up for a kill on Jakiro. You hit 5
Oh, that's right.
and a
that's
half, you rotate 2 heroes around, Doom and Lion can dive you, you can't do anything. Whereas
Yeah,
DK
definitely right.
will survive for crucial like 3-4 seconds for one person to TP.
Mm-hmm.
If you're by a tower with any mid hero, it's just you just need to buy enough time where you don't get immediately bursted.
I kind of like the Tidehunter pick. Something that's often not focused on is the fact that you actually can interrupt Sunray. And Ravage is a decent skill for this. If he's got good positioning, Sunray gets interrupted kind of a thing, then Phoenix is really limited in what he does instead.
Oh, okay,
But
that's
it does
the counter.
reveal the Doom as a support.
Yeah. I guess it does, yeah. Oh, that's not too weird. Z-Freak always plays a roaming support consistently, and a lot of times as well in a potential dual offlane. So Doom is not the hero they normally pick, but I don't think it's that weird. They usually just pick ones that synergize a bit better with Ion Shell, and not that Doom's bad at that, but he's definitely a little bit more farm heavy.
Sorry, I think a lot of this game already will come down to the Phoenix. For me personally, Phoenix just feels like one of the most game-changing or position heroes in the game, just because of how good Sunray can be and how good can be. We saw it in the highlight clips too, right?
Yeah.
In the number 1.
Sunray's
That's
great
a
hero.
Yeah, that's a 4-position Phoenix that just dives in, drops the egg. There's nobody that can have that kind of impact if the egg
I
drops.
didn't get a reaction there, Blitz.
I got it.
I just got to keep going.
Personally.
I got it.
Sunray,
Took me
good
like 2
hero.
seconds. I was like, Paul
Good
messed
hero.
up, and I was like,
Yeah.
no, he didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Sick joke.
Yeah. Blitz. Missed it. Ignored.
Razor versus DK in the
Failed.
mid lane sounds pretty bad for DK though. Like, it's basically DK is gonna be able to last it with Breathe Fire, more or less, because he's just constantly gonna sap his damage. The tether range is increased as well. So
We saw yesterday in Dragon Knight vs. Bet Rider where you could only last hit with Breeze Fire, but then you have the stick charges and you can actually continuously use
Yeah.
Breeze Fire. So how is he gonna get his mana now?
you'll be okay in this situation. I think obviously Razor is a lot stronger in the laning phase, but Razor's always been kind of that hero.
Ooh.
And
The
the
Wraith
Wraith
King
King added to the mix.
So
counter to
this
Doom.
is their carry. Yeah, counter to Doom, because if he gets doomed, he'll respawn, so not a big deal there. And also good against teamfight heroes like Tidehunter. It's like the same thing. If they ravage you, the next time you're alive, they're not going to have ravage this time. But they do have pretty good disable, pretty good kite, good stuns. Wraith King might get kited a lot. And I hope that, like the other times I've seen Alliance pick Wraith King, this isn't the first time. They usually don't play it fully efficient, in my opinion. They usually get like they max out Vampire Aura first before the crit. But I'm sure they'll adjust the build a bit more now.
Okay, so last pick is gonna be a
It's a
Weaver
Weaver.
for Chessie.
I
Okay,
like
very, very interesting draft to start things off. Purge, how do you...
I think I like
View
the
it.
complexity draft better. I want Wraith King to be a good hero, but I just don't think he's quite there yet. I think Weaver is a good solution. You just get a Death Hunt through his armor. It doesn't matter that he dies twice.
Okay, Shiva?
I'm gonna go with Purge. I think the complexity also a little bit the better team, and will have an easier time executing their drafts compared to Alliance.
Okay, last word before we hand over to commentary team Blitz.
I think Alliance has the better draft, or the one that I would prefer to play more.
Really?
I think
Even though
their
it's a bit more clunky?
I think their lineup is kind of well centered around just running at you and taking towers, whereas complexities way too high of cooldowns. I think the one-off fights are going to go maybe in their favor, but I think the overall game goes to Alliance.
Okay, thank you very much to all three of you. We're now going to hand you over to our commentary team, and for the first game of the day and the first series, pleased to say, the G-Men are in the house.
Thanks, Red Eye. I'm Gareth, joining me, Gods, and we do have Complexity against Alliance as our first best of three. Game number one coming up right here, right now, and what do you think about what the panel's saying? A couple of them thinking that Complexity have maybe the better lineup here, but...
Yeah, very different drafts. I like what Purge said about the Wraith King pick. When it was funny because right before they picked, I'm like, I think they're going to pick a Wraith King for Loda, but when they picked, I'm like, it's not the best hero, but it was perhaps the best hero available to Alliance that fits them, their playstyle, but it's still like you've got a Wraith King kind of scenario. So
I love this little chat. No, I tweeted out earlier it's going to be the decider who's the best Swedish team. Alliance against Complexity, and they're all, speaking Swedish in chat, and then Bulldog Trump 2016 comes out and...
Gotta throw out a few memes here and there.
Oh, and there's Swindles, of course. He can't go through a game without a bit of back chat.
Ouch.
Poor guy. An interesting
I hope
smoke from
they
Alliance, though.
find Swindles here. I hope Swindles walks right into them, gives up a first blood, just
Did
to
he
see
see
what...
Oh, he did.
Oh, he walked in. Oh, okay. Unfortunate. I would have loved to have seen the reply should Swindles have given up first blood there.
Swindles had to be told by his teammates just then, though, the way it looked. He got pinged out by DK as well as the Weaver, saying, hey, dude, pay attention to where you're going. He was looking somewhere else on the map. And
He's probably had the all chat open. It's like when you die and like, oh, I was typing in chat, guys. Come on.
Fine, it's
You're not
all
allowed
fine.
to kill me when I'm typing. That's not cool. But, yeah, Bell, I don't think Swindle got the message that Swedes are friendly people. They're not meant to be all chatting in these games, but here we go.
EGM Jakiro, a hero that's, had a lot of grief recently, especially from Blitz. Red Eye's been whispering it into our ears on the panel for the past 2 days, just going, Jakiro's going to be picked, just to try and tilt Blitz as much as you can.
It's happened.
Yeah, it's happened. A couple of teams, I think Fnatic tried to run it, 343 had it on day one in the wild card. Didn't go particularly well, but it was kind of one of those heroes where it's, we pick it, we try and push towers, low cooldown abilities, which is something Cap brought up the other day with all these kind of extended skirmishes, starting off very early on. Macropie, is his only big spell that he has to expend, but it's all about the dual breath and the liquid fire, really.
Yeah, Macropire is almost his worst spell in some weird, odd way.
Yeah. It's his ultimate. It continues. Loader, the smiley face, of course. See, now this is where you come back with a question mark, right? You Swindles, you open up all chat. Oh, what? Oh,
Hey, if that's a Valve event, you've just lost the game. Then you can't. Oh my! This game is getting out of hand. Andre called in sick today. The head admin of Epicenter's not here, and this is what happens, Gareth. The team's obviously taking note and getting away with a bit of cheekiness here.
A little bit of a mess already. So mid lane Razor against the Dragon Knight Razor, of course, static link. There's no boots on either of them. I do wonder, it's bottle out for DK and try and deal with that one. Admiral Bulldog down at bottom, already taking
Hatskin stunned the boar. He did the old Soshka move and didn't hit the hero, he hit the boar.
But up at top, Swindles right click down, anchor smash back, but it looks like he's gone. Had enough damage between them with Icarus Dive and, dual breath. With a load of stun.
Yeah, perhaps just not expecting to have all 3 heroes starting up top, but Alliance, a team who don't often commit much support presence towards the mid lane to help S4, and Swindle's getting caught out by that. He had a ton of HP regen on him, but ultimately if you can burst him down at level 1, it's the best time to do it before he gets points in the Kraken Shell, and they're looking to zone him from the get-go.
The 2 Flappy Birds are just going to right-click Tidehunter out of lane. And at this point, you know, he might aim towards that Iron Talon on the Tidehunter just to try and farm up the camp, but look at where the Dire Observer Ward is. They
Is he
moved...
just gonna die again? Loda's charging him.
He's slowed a hell of a lot, and that burn damage is ticking lower and lower, and he's got no chance in hell. Swindles, even with a Fairy Fire, great body blocks from Arcade, hold him in place, and EGM will pick up the kill. But even if Swindles does want to like move back towards the Ancients, stack them for himself, go towards the offlane large camp, Limp Screen dies. They've got that Dire Observer Ward. They did that smoke in through, looped past into that Radiant area, and exactly what he's up to. Look, it's going to be a game of all chat, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
it's going to be non-stop.
That's half the entertainment value
People like
here.
15 minutes in, hey, are you guys doing Roshan? We're really curious. You let us know what's going on.
Oh. There's some. So yeah, the Razor versus DK matchup, not great for DK, but he should be able to at least get farmed just through Breathe Fire. And you're never really worried about dying in this mid lane to an S4 Razor, so you can even walk in for last hits here and there, or at least risk taking a bit of harass for last hits. So I think DK at least get what he needs out of this lane.
Does the Z-Freak roaming Doom give anything extra to the DK? Like, is there killing power over on S4?
Not until level 6 DK, I feel. I like to see DKs now with the way Breathe Fire works, to get like 1 point in stun by level 6, so you can have like a 2-1-2 build. I think that's kind of my... And that, the Dragon Blood recently got buffed, so you don't need as... You can get away with a few fewer points. 3-1-1? No, I like the 2-1-2. Or 3-1-1 also works okay, but I think the second point, it doubles the armor and HP regen, so... But I guess if you're talking about getting kills on Razor, you might need the 3-1-1.
Maybe just want to stay alive.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at these 2 supports from Alliance. A lot of time up at top, and you know, EGM, he does like stacking and pulling, getting himself some golden experience. Get, you know, maybe a Tranquil Soul Ring, the Arcane Boots for him into Ether Lens or Yule Scepter. But Arcane on this Phoenix, not really the greatest roaming hero. Can control runes a fair amount. Stop DK from refilling his bottle up with these 2 up at top. Dire bottom rune is pretty far away down towards bottom, but that should be complexities. Nice. Admiral Bulldog wants to get in on that one. And ready to get ourselves back underway. Alliance safe lane, tri lane. Already bullied Swindles out of the game.
Oh yeah. And that's when you're running a safe lane trial, and you've got it. Not many teams actually doing this. Normally you're seeing dual lanes or a jungler, so you've got to make sure you completely zone out the offlaner to really get value out of this.
Bulldog stunned up, and Doom will get the bounty rune. And dual boars force him back out.
Nice play rotating in the line as well, with the Doom being low on HP there, and coming towards mid lane is Ake with a double damage. Has the dive.
Oh, okay.
But Limp's full HP. He went for a 1. He has 2 points in Dragon Blood at level 3, in fact. So going for an extra point. I don't know if that was intended, because he's sitting on full HP. Normally you do this if you've been like harassed down to like below half, but not exactly value in terms of being able to farm with your Breathe Fire.
Maybe just scared the fact he hasn't... Oh, he does have his boots now. I was wondering if he was scared that maybe if S4 gets his boots out, starts running at him, he's in a bit of trouble, but the Phoenix moves back up towards top and looks for Swindles. And they'll start off again with a dive forward. They've got this DD rune still going from Arcade. Loader just needs to close the gap, get the stun, and again, kill off the Tide.
Swindles. Jeez, he's still waking up, I guess, because that is a very poor start for him. He has the Observer Ward and everything, and at the times he's just walked up to the lane, there's been vision of EGM just sitting on the side, and he's just completely overestimated just how tanky he is in this top lane, and 0-3 in as many minutes. Very, very troubling for Complexity. He needs to find some levels, and I mean, every death he takes is money taken away towards his Iron Talon. Doesn't sound like much, but just kind of sat back, stacked his camp. He could have almost just farmed a Iron Talon just through his passive gold gain.
That's his comeback item. That's his kind of Midas, basically, to try and actually get him some levels, because he's level 1. He's halfway through level 1. Not even level 2 yet, and Z-Freak will even come in and take out his...
Yeah, Z-Freak's helping him. I mean, Z-Freak's helping him out get XP from that. He lets Tide leech the XP, so...
Here you go, brother. Take a bit. And I see everything that's happening, though, Alliance, with that Observer Ward, and Arcade is even trying to leech experience away from that camp himself. Oh, maybe moving in onto Limp. Dragon Knight full HP though, not the easiest target to jump
It's
on.
the 4-minute rune coming up that Aki wants to be able to contest, but unable to do so with many coL heroes in the neighborhood.
And with Bulldog getting himself up and running, he's also very afraid of this bottom lane. You know, Chessie.
I mean, he's got Zion Talon, so he's happy. He knows what's up. Swindles, on the other hand, well, may have won the banter with Team Alliance, but
he's not winning the lane
no.
stage. Tidehunt. This takes me back to like 4 or 5 years ago when we used to see support Tidehunters, right? Going around like level 3, 15 minutes
Yeah,
in.
you've got you're running around gushing people, trying to set up ganks, like
I just want Ravage, guys. Just want a level 6. But this is an off-lane Tide, and it's been a long while since I've seen someone struggle so much in lane. But what Alliance have really focused on here is, you know, Razor is a lane dominator. They've picked that for them. Beastmaster can bully out supports in lanes, and he's not been able to so far. But once he gets up a few more levels, up to like level 5 or 6, he can definitely go with that. And he's got his boots now as well.
something we talked about was whether Doom would get aggressive towards the mid lane. He's coming to the enemy jungle, so has access to both top and mid, but DK will be hitting level 6 soon, but didn't go for the Dragon Tail, so we won't really see that easy setup stun to kill off S4. So he'd have to get S4 pretty low for the Doom to be able to rotate in and find any kills. It is pretty even on CS in this mid lane. DK 22 CS to the 27 of 28 now of Razor, so this has been it's been what you'd expect out of a DK. Slightly behind, but getting what he needs.
They are diving Swindles again. The TP rotations coming in from Complexity. Swindles, he's still alive. Ishikuchi's forward into Loader, trying to body block him up as well. The stun is out, and Chessie's dropping low. Not have his ultimate just yet, and this is just a show of force here to send Loader back, and he might actually drop. He's not level 6 either. Doesn't have reincarnation, and a few more hits in the Sun Ray. Nope, the Breathe Fire will finish him off. Complexity commit, how many? 4? Up to that top lane to save Swindles and make sure he doesn't die again.
Great rotation from Chessie. Not often you see like your safe lane carry TP this early on, but recognizing the opportunity to kill off Loader's Wraith King there, and Loader getting punished. Didn't have the levels to go for that dive without reincarnation if the TPs come, and even just like not having a magic stick, man, he didn't have any. Needed that like extra mana boost to get another stun off almost as well.
Yeah. With what Blitz was saying, he liked the Alliance draft because it's kind of easier to execute. You know what you're going to get. You just get out of laning stage and you push down towers and you keep fighting. You just try and fight around the Wraith King ulti up as often as you can. While Complexity, what's their game plan?
Group up more to the extent where they're gonna when they have Ravage and DK ultimate, they can group up, push towers, using the Ravage to kind of back up the DK in the front lines. And similarly, Weaver, pretty good hit pushing hero once he gets that kind of Linken's plus Desu. So it's a much more kind of mid-game oriented team fight from Complexity, whereas Alliance is going to be more about the pick-offs, using the Beastmaster Roar plus Sunray like to find these just quick kills on the Complexity side.
Complexity do have to be a little bit wary about how and where they use their ultimates though, because once your DK form is down, the Ravage is gone, and the Doom expended, you are lacking a little bit in terms of actual teamfight capability outside of maybe, you know, Weaver Shikuchi and his right-click damage, or the Lion stuns out Hanskin. Alliance, I'm just sitting back for now. Bulldog is closing on at level 6, and you always see Bulldog. He hits 6, he looks for the Roar, smoke up somewhere and try and find that kill. But who does he pair up with? You know, does he go up to top lane, look for Swindles again, or is DK a hero that you want to kill off early and slow down that armlet from him?
I think Weaver in the safe lane very hard to kill reliably because of the Shikuchi escape. So even if you get the Doom off, if you cast Shikuchi first, he just gets far enough away that you're not killing him. So the safest kill to go for is probably
Swindles.
Swindles is the safe kill. And the nice thing about killing Swindles in this top lane is this is a tower you want to. Well, they're already going to get the tier 1 tower, but if you kill him farming near the tier 2, you can transition from a kill into perhaps the tier 2 tower. So with the Jakiro, I think the Jakiro almost wants to be smoking with the Beastmaster, because that means wherever you find the kill, be it mid, top, or bottom, you can transition into a tower following up the pickoff.
You consolidate kill into objective. That was good for Alliance. Putting a lot of emphasis on warding up this top lane. S4, of course, with his famous rune running around. He's got an Invis bottled as well. That armlet picked up for Loader. It might be time. He's got his ultimate ready. Actually, run forward and start one of these fights off already.
Slamming on very low HP.
He needs to though. Like at this point, you might even think skip Iron Talon and say screw it. I'll try and get a Tranquil Boots or an Arcanes or a Bracer. Just something to allow me to tank up and stay in these lanes a little bit longer.
He's the least farmed hero in the game.
He's 100 below the line in terms of net worth, isn't he?
That's a bit awkward. Yeah, I mean, Lion had some alone time. This is actually going to be a very fast level 6 on Lion. He with the Weaver TPing top, he got some CS in this bottom lane, got some nice solo XP, and having this fast level 6 for Lion is going to be when Complexity likely look for air smoke rotation. Perhaps wait for Z-Freak to get level 6 himself on Doom, but having both Doom and Finger of Death this early on is easy pickoffs around the map.
Oh, there is your smoke picked up by the Phoenix. Okay, he's been given some time to try and get into that Supernova as well. Emanate attack over on the Weaver is decent against that one, but your Weaver's roared up. Supernova can definitely land on your head. Now, we used to see a lot of mech on Razor, and that could be something they used to really amplify this team fight capabilities they've got. Push into these towers, but...
Not a big fan of the mech anymore. Like, with the mana cost, it's a bit hard for the Razor to do that, and I think he wants to just itemize more towards being a pseudo carry.
Yeah, that's what I was going to come to. Like, we used to see then S&Y was the kind of transition into that one, but then S&Y's been nerfed on ranged heroes a fair amount. Mantistar's been kind of the go-to for ranged agi carries or semi-carries, but...
Like a Yasha BKB build.
Oh, that could be good, actually. Oh, S4, he doesn't get a bounty. That static link, the jump forward, Z-Freak and Hanskin on the high ground, and up, turn it back around with a stun down, Doom on S4, and Jesse arrive. Weaver suddenly in the party, and a Finger of Death back on. Takedown 2 and Complexity. Great reactions here coming into the team fight, while EGM, he's left alone to his own devices. Swindle says, you know what, you bullied me out of lane. Give me this kill, lads. Let me take it, but Limp it up and get himself closer to that armlet, but Swindle's going to be super happy with that now, halfway through level 5, closing in on 6, and he's got his Iron Talon.
It was a risky time for Alliance to go for that smoke move because Complexity themselves has just hit level 6 on Doom and Lion, so they're going to be looking to fight and take that engagement. Even though Tide's in catch-up mode, they don't need the Tide to fight with them. Tide just comes in for that little bit of XP and farm at the end, but the fight's just won off of the Doom and the Lion Finger. They take out Razor with the Doom, Phoenix with the Finger, and from there it's just a very one-sided, Complexity-favored engagement. Even Chessie rotating in to make sure things go okay, and that's what I really like about that rotation there. Complexity brought all 5 heroes, recognizing that this is like that key post-laning stage fight that's really going to decide how things happen for the next 5-10 minutes.
Oh, certainly. And didn't have their Wraith King or their Beastmaster for Alliance, and that's why Bulldog now, he's smoked up through into the Radiant jungle. And with the Hawk, had vision over onto Chessie, but S4 wasn't in a position, he couldn't run past the creep wave and give away the positioning of the Beastmaster to actually jump onto the Weaver. Look at the tier 1 instead. They've forced these heroes off of lanes, and Complexity, like you said, they're going to be grouping up now. They've got the Ravage, they've got these ultimates available. Alliance, sure, you go and push our tier 1 bot. We're going to push tier 1 mid, we'll move up through your jungle, ward up, get your tier 1 top as well, and we'll get the better trade out of this one.
Yeah, in some ways, how they're going to play around like the Raze and stuff is going to be like kind of what like Liquid used to do with Fat on the Raze. It's going to be much more kind of farm heavy, looking to avoid fights to some extent, try and transition S4 into a late game carry, but the question is how much did Complexity get out of you playing kind of defensively and farm-centric, because they can take objectives very well using the DK ultimate. They've already got that back up. The Doom's up in 5 seconds, Finger of Death in 40, so going to likely punish Alliance if they play too defensively.
Oh, nice by Limp. They've got that Obs Ward in that new spot over in the Dire Jungle. They see the Hawk flying over and he just breathes it down. Now, looking at bottom lane though, Alliance, they didn't stop. They continued going on at tier 2 down here, so the TPs have to come back out from Complexity to stop this one. And with knowledge for Phoenix pops up. Close to 6. So he will hit it from that.
So as far as you've got Weaver, good at killing the Phoenix with the Gemini attack. Other than that though, none of the other heroes particularly good Phoenix counters. DK with an armlet hits at a decent rate, assuming he hasn't been hit by the Fire Spirits.
Oh, look at that Complexity scan to see where Alliance are in their jungle. Alliance scan ahead of their smoke to see if there's any coL heroes around. But neither of them are going to see anything. The trouble is Complexity maybe a little bit earlier. If they waited 5, 6, 7 seconds for that scan, they would have seen the 3 heroes from Alliance actually moving through and encroaching into this area.
And I like this from Alliance. They're not just sitting back and trying to entirely farm. Recognizing that Complexity are just going to try and team fight it down.
He's caught with the Roar. In with the Sun Ray, they've got a lot of damage. TP's coming through from Complexity. Z-Freak's lasting through this a fair amount.
Yeah. Alliance are just saying, screw it, let's go push towers, apply pressure to Complexity, but not do so in a like, let's just group up as 5 and head on, take them with the Ravage, but they make sure they get a pick off first. So it's pick off, then transition to tower. That's what their lineup does so well with the Jakiro and Beastmaster. You find a pick off with the Roar, and then suddenly you've got this 5v4 scenario where you're going to break buildings incredibly fast because of the Liquid Fire.
What about Roshan then? Is that something Alliance think about? Like if they get 2 or 3 kills, they go back to Roshan, or is it just mainly about towers and farming up the Wraith King and Razor until a point where they're unkillable with a...
Now that they've taken the tier 1 tower in mid, it means it's a lot harder for Complexity to quickly get to the Roche area, so a pickoff can easily lead into Roche, and they haven't got the best Roche lineup until they get a few items. Like they want to have level 4 Liquid Fire as well as like a Necro Book.
They've got Necro 1 on Bulldog.
Yeah, I think at this stage with a pickoff they can easily take Roshan, or if they like force Complexity towards like defending the top lane, for example. So see what the next move's going to be. Loda in range of this sentry.
Oh, can they see him up there? Well,
yeah,
Swindles.
they do. They see him.
I know exactly what's going on.
But they also don't want to initiate on Loda. He's got Reincarnation, Armlet. You don't want to throw too many spells on him.
And start things off on the tide. They'll turn back though. Andre keeps Loda alive, and they're actually soaking up a lot of damage onto him. The Ravage turns back again, and Chessie, Shikuchi's through. Finish off Chikiro, look for the ones on the back end as well. He's still got his ultimate, the time lapse out, and Bulldog dropping solo. Throws the wild axes, the Supernova's good, they finish off the Beastmaster. But the egg dropping, Chessie finds the kill back as that Loda still has his ultimate, but he's a Wraith King. He's taken out the first time, and S4's doomed up. He's got to try and get himself back into this, and Liv drop in, but the armor toggle gets himself to a decent amount of HP, but Ansgar doesn't land that stun, and Swindles will forfeit his life once more. The question is, can Chessie get himself away in the back? Loda is getting the DK, but it's the Weaver. Oh, not quite hit by the plasma field. As a TP, looks like he'll be able to retreat back to Fountain as well.
Yeah, not the best time deck coming out from Ake, able to be dealt with by Complexity, and then like after the fight ended up split up, it was just easy for the Dragon Knight to continually armlet toggle while fighting the Wraith King, so they couldn't bring down the DK. The Weaver managing to just maneuver around the fight as well, so ends up being a somewhat even fight. Despite Alliance kind of having the edge when they initiate in. They're the ones who start things, but it ends up at least being an acceptable result from the side of Complexity, although they don't take this tier 1 mid tower.
Alliance have got a lot of good ways of dealing with that armlet, don't they? Sunray, Supernova, Necro Books, the Liquid Fire and Dual Breath, like you were saying as well.
It's definitely decent, but like you need those heroes to be alive, I guess, and that's where Complexity did a good job not over-committing onto the Wraith King. He starts the fight, but they immediately switch their attention to the Jakiro of EGM. After that, they go for Bulldog on the Beastmaster. They pretty much spent the entire fight ignoring Loda, and like you want to get that Reincarnation popping early on. That's a big slow to apply to the entire Complexity team, but he doesn't die with the Reincarnation until like 2/3 of the way through that team fight.
At the very least, they'll get their Roshan, and a Blade Mail for Loda has just been picked up, giving S4 that Aegis the Immortal. We've seen what he's picked up. He's got himself the Sand, so S and Y. Halberd isn't really a big item for anyone right now, except maybe a Huskar, so always the likely choice here for S4. The good old standard build.
And just, tanking up more than anything, being able to be a good frontliner. SMY, BKB, we'll see what kind of build he wants to go for, and just being able to fight. You're up against all these tanky melee carries. You want to be able to get off a long duration static link. You want to be able to just not melt in the presence of like the Dragon Knight ultimate, the Doom, the Weaver. You can just be a frontline tank in a lot of ways.
So Swindles, 0-4 in lane, had a pretty trash start. He is now pretty much the same experience, the same level as the Wraith King, the one-roll Wraith King.
Good. He's in a alright position. The farm-wise, he's not comparing, but
he's got a 4-staff done.
Yeah, it was all the ancient stack, which I guess not sure who was stacking that with those Swindles himself, but it's like a quad stack or a 5-stack. And now he's in a much, much better position. The 4-staff a very useful item against the Razor and even the Phoenix. I mean, against all these heroes.
You can force away like the raw target, get people out of danger and all that,
Get them out of static link, get away from just the Phoenix Sunray. Wraith King, a hero you want to kite around as well, so very good item this game, and I do like that he's going for the 4-staff over the Blink Dagger, at least initially.
Well, we knew this game would be close, and there's nothing in it by the metrics. Net worth difference, pretty much 0. Experience difference, it's like 1k dipping back down to 0 as well. Both teams farming decently, and of course, this stun onto S4 will start things off at the top rune spots, but it's Complexity who are actually afraid of this fight. Continuing through with Alliance, converging on the area, S4. Of course, he's got a haste and chasing people down. Why wouldn't he?
And with the Aegis, they just can't really commit too much on S4. They're trying to kill him without committing any big spells.
Swindle's thinking about the Ravage, he's cancelling it out there. We go back on to 2 EGM, Bulldog, Sunray's not going to heal you through that one, and Lip chases EGM. Hex stop, and Doom onto Ake means there's no Supernova and nothing left to throw here for Alliance.
That
2 gone.
Such a good Ravage timing. He waited until the Alliance heroes rotate, and they kill Bulldog before he even gets a roar off.
Loda Cannot save
he's got
Arcane.
Lincolns.
Nice Lincolns from Chessie.
He's
Let's
gonna have
stop
to
out that
exit.
stun. I think he will. No, he dives
Okay.
away. It comes back up. But again, Loader not available in the team
He's
fight.
got no reincarnation. That's a level 1 reincarnation
20
pop.
seconds, armor toggle. Can you do it, Loader? Espo comes back in. The sun rays there, but he's gone. Complexity. 3 down for Alliance. And their team fight ultimate's paying off dividends there.
Swindles, I mean, you can point towards his bad stats, say what you want about it, but he makes up for it in spades there with that Ravage, and the fallout from Complexity is just punish after punish onto the Alliance side.
Animation cancelling 4 or 5 times. Like, yeah, come on, Alliance.
Yeah.
You know, I've got Ravage. Let's do a little bit of a dance.
A lot of teams there would have just like either panicked, retreated from S4 and just not re-engaged, or they would have just over-committed to kill S4 once. Like if they
A
throw...
finger or something like that.
If they use like a DK stun, Impale Finger, yeah, they kill the Aegis, but they lose the subsequent fight. But they just held on to as many spells as possible. They just kind of chipped away at him. They threw a Gush, they threw an Impale, but they don't throw any of their big ultimates until the rest of Alliance is there and they know what they're getting into, and they make sure they hit that good Ravage.
We now have a Blink over on Admiral Bulldog. Necro 1 into Blink. We've seen a lot of players go like Necro 2 into Blink instead of actually finishing off Necro 3, but he feels he needs that added extra initiation, not just the smoke into Raw or something like that, because the fact Loader doesn't have a Blink dagger himself, he is just the frontliner. He wants to walk into the fight, try and bait out spells. Oh, this is a pick-off item here for Bulldog, and oh, if they can sit behind S4 and EGM as they pummel into Tier 2, using Complexity maybe walk into a battle while their ultimates are down. Got Blink on Limp though, equally as good at initiating back into Alliance, and Hansken, he's seen by the Star Observer Board, he has a TP scroll, but Alliance knows the line isn't here.
Yeah, they'd be mid lane, they're gonna go in.
Swindles 4 staffs away, looks like he's okay. Macro Pyre, that's it's a long ass spell. That range. The map away.
Not the scariest of spells though.
It tickles you. It's big and long, but it doesn't pack a punch.
That's what she said.
Oh dear.
It's early in the morning, Gareth. Come on.
See, I set it up. Oh god, we missed the kill now. Well, at least I did.
right.
I hope Wepas caught that one. He's busy laughing at you. Bulldog finds the kill on Hansken up at top.
Weapons is here to keep this cast on track.
He's carrying us. Just like Chessie's carrying Complexity now, nearly with a death. Was he finished Death Sleep? No, he's got a Mithril Hammer, 200 gold. Performance pop for the Tier 1 mid. Tried this earlier in Alliance. They came at them in full force, trying to defend it, but it looks like even with the glyph, they're going to let this one go, and Swindles just runs. Look at him! Not a care in the world. He wants to gush the Phoenix. He's by a Tier 2, he smashes the creep wave, but he runs in. Wants to fight. He wants Alliance to fight into them.
Yep. Well, Complexity forcing things here in the mid lane, have all their ultimates up. Lion's still a long ways away, and that's something which Alliance perhaps not wary of, could use to their advantage, but let's be very careful how they approach these fights. Lion going for a max mana drain field, has 3 points for now, but that means Loader has to be a little bit wary of losing his mana and being unable to get off the reincarnation in these fights.
Do they have arcanes? They do one over an EGM.
Yeah, so they have arcanes. He has one, so assuming he's not disabled, he can one right before he dies, but often the play is you mana drain him while disabling him or dooming him, and then you can actually kill him off.
Who doesn't get that ultimate out? Oh, Alliance, where are you heading? Looking through into this Radiant jungle for a pick, but looks like it might be Hansken who tanks the gank. He's 200 gold away from Blink as well. The scan.
They're going to see him.
Yeah,
Nice use of the scan.
That's actually pretty nice. I guess they know he's moved off the lane and they want to know exactly where he's heading, but simple kill. Pick off there, and he moves back down to 1700 gold, 500 now away from the Blink, and that's a little bit unfortunate for him, but
That's not too
no
big a
big deal.
Space created, you got farming elsewhere on the map. When your Lion's tanking a smoke gank, you're not too worried. But Alliance at least in a position to get that pick, and then they're not going to be able to break high ground here, but they can force Complexity back, because Complexity want to be farming the mid lane, the top lane, the enemy jungle, but they're going to be forced to bring everyone back to defend now.
There's no glyph. They could get the Tier 3 down to like half HP.
Yes, they can get some good damage off.
Potentially kill it. Look at it. The Necro 2's up. And it's half HP done to the tower now, and Swindles returns with his Ravage ready, of course. Don't want to be walking into the big man himself, and Alliance go back to defend their own Tier 2. Chessie He was left alone to farm, and he's got his Desolator money now pretty much. Like
Kind of a
50
game
gold away.
of ping pong where Alliance is like, we're going to find a pick, force you to TP back, and as soon as they do, Alliance is like, okay, we force them to TP back, now we go back and farm.
Run away from your ultimates, and we'll go do something elsewhere.
They're going to jump in on Limp at bottom.
Nice DK. Oh god, look at that. Mega kill streak gone. Okay, with that level 4 Sunray, with no buyback on your DK. Is this a high ground push here from Alliance? We're going to run into Swindles as well with a stun forward. Nice 4 staff away, preempting that.
Good news is Weaver has Desolated for the upcoming fight, so his damage output will get increased by a significant margin now.
And the control that Alliance have got, they've got to try and pop it with what, like Static Link or the Wraith King stun before roaring him. And it's just not that easy. They don't have 4 staffs or orchids or anything in along those lines to actually get through the Lincoln Sphere.
So it doesn't look like... We'll see Alliance probably just chip at this tower, but... Sure, if they can really threaten to truly take
They've
Rax.
got a Hawk, they know, they've got vision. Swindle jumps on, he's gonna try and pop his Ravage soon. No, he's forced that away, he gets himself out with a stick as well. Unloader, mana drain through, he stick charge himself. There's mana for the ulti here if he needs it. They just need a little bit more.
Just barely had the mana.
They get it away from him. Loader, Reincarnation has been expended. Might be a signal for Alliance to actually retreat and just give up on his tier 3.
Did use Ravage, but I think similar on the Alliance side, the trade for Reincarnation means they can't easily push high ground. There's no BKB or anything, so Loader doesn't want to go blinking in to initiate when you can just die to the Lion, the Doom. And they will back off.
Level 4 mana drain's pretty good. I watched this 4 second cooldown.
Yeah.
Insane stuff. We used to see it a lot against Medusa back what, a year and a half ago. Just pick up the Lion. Medusa mana drain out, but Wraith King equally reliant on that mana pool for himself as he runs through Ancients and Alliance to buy their time a touch.
And the next big timing for Alliance is going to be when they get the BKBs on Loader as well as S4. Imagine Loader's next item needs to be a BKB just so he can fight into the Ravage and, well, the mana drain of the Lion.
Yeah. And S4's already on his way towards that one. Now, with support Phoenixes over the past couple of weeks, we've seen Fly get his Hand of Midas by 15-16 minutes and actually progress in items, get Lincoln Spheres, get Hexes, get Shiver's Guard, hell, even just a Yule Scepter if you need it. But Arke, forever the 5-roll hard support, Tranquil Boots, Observables, Dust and Wands. He's not going to get too much else out of this game, I don't think. Well, EGM, that's the trade-off, right? You've got Jakiro with full Guardian Greaves.
Which is kind of significant to note, because that level 2 ultimate is a big upgrade on Phoenix. Going from 5 to 8 attacks to destroy the Supernova makes a big difference for the way you can approach a team fight. So he's going to have to keep buying those tons of experience, but even that alone won't get him to level 11 before, like, I don't imagine during this Aegis timer they're going to have a level 11 Phoenix.
Yeah, now barely level 9. Yeah, level.
There's a smoked up complexity side. I wonder if they're actually thinking about fighting into the Aegis. No Ravage available. It seems like a very odd play to make.
I think there was, like, they smoked up from sort of around their Ancients area, and I don't know where they were looking to head to.
They're hoping Alliance is kind of split up and they can find a easy free pickoff, but a Hawk's about to scout them out, and yeah, this could actually go really bad for coL.
Hanskin? And jump forward, and Limp thinks about the Dragon Tail as well, but his Link Dagger. He's got his BKB as that kind of failsafe, the backup plan for him. Did they get the Hawk just there? I think they saw it flying across. Limp just breathed it down, that big old dragon. But Alliance, Invis S4.
Rune Master.
I mean, he's had, what, 3 Invis this game? 4 haste runes or something like that? I don't think he's had...
Gonna force things here.
Push up onto high ground and oh, they're doing a lot of damage with that Desolator from Chessie. Dragon form from Limp. I guess if you pop Dragon form and you don't get a kill, you don't start a fight, you want to get something done with it at the very least.
They had vision to protect them. That was kind of the key thing there. The ward right behind them in the mid lane and the ward by the Alliance secret shop. So they had their bases covered except from like a smoke from Alliance. But
it was a good D-ward by Arke though. Over towards the tier 2 at bottom lane, they kind of knew that with the movement from Complexity, they'd have an Ops ward up there. So they removed that one out with a sentry.
Now it's Alliance. I mean, talk about this game being a back and forth ping pong match. Well, it's Alliance looking to force things down towards the mid lane. Possibly could consider swinging towards that bottom. Yeah. It's already nice and low. And yeah, that's exactly the move they're going to make. Glyph is available. coL may be forced to pop this one very soon.
They are indeed. I'm not sure it's going to save this tier 3. The TP comes back from Limp. Killed off the tower though, and with the stun ray Loader not taking a lot of damage. Chessie's stunned up, down towards the back end of the fight. Swindle's considering forcing himself into this one, but it's just a little bit of back and forth as the racks are falling, and EGM Oh, he's held in place, but there's the BKB, the run forward from Loader, straight into Z-Freak, the stun back, holds the racing, but Complexity don't have enough damage, and the Roar is perfect. Catches the DK, stops him from actually running through the fight, and they finish off Swindles. No Ravage just yet, the Tide is forced to buy back the whole time lapse, and Jesse out. The Lions, they've got the racks. Missed down slowly but surely, the Ravage finally comes to Swindles. They got the reincarnation through, but S4 is unkillable on the front line. Aegis still up, tanking through all the damage. The finger finally kills him, but he's coming back to life in a matter of seconds. And the Lions, they got what they came for. They might give up S4. No, they won't. They'll run back in. Look to save their mate. And Razor sprints away with all that movement speed, while Hanskin, he wants to continue this fight through Complexity. They need to get something out of this EGM. There we go. Shakiro's taken out. S4 turned on. Static Link still damaged, but Loader, he's still alive. Runs through. Crits one. Hits on two, but he's 1v3. Alliance ditch Loader. Gets back to base and leave the Red King to die.
Perhaps Loader joins them in the grave with 4 deaths on Alliance's side. It was an expensive push, but ultimately they get the melee racks. They killed Tide twice and the Doom, so easily worth it. The side of Alliance in terms of just progressing the game, but it does come at the cost of Chessie getting more and more farm. He's now 2-0 and 11 on this Weaver. Dragon Knight as well suddenly has 3k gold on top of his armlet BKB, so the item progression for the 2 main Complexity carries is going to continue.
All we need now is Aghanims on Wraith King. Just have all those wraiths popping up, you know?
Yeah.
Another Liquid Fire, another Sunray, another bit of this, another bit of that, and...
It was a really disciplined push from Alliance to begin with. Like, they weren't too concerned about committing for the kills. They were just making sure they got the racks, while they just, like... The Razor, the Beastmaster, and the Jakiro just making sure that they keep focusing down the rack while committing their BKBs and not just diving past, going for the kills.
Really well played there. I mean, Chessie, he got in a lot of damage onto that range barracks, and of course with no regen, it will be available for the taking in a little bit. But Alliance, they glyph up and they defend.
Still anyone's games for sure right now. Like, you're in Complexity, you're thinking, yeah, we lost a melee racks, we're 30 minutes in, we've got these 2 farm cores, so you can at least keep things pushed out pretty effectively in the DK and the Weaver.
And they're very good at taking down towers. Like, what one team fight can determine an entire lane, if not 2 lanes of racks just falling instantaneously.
And the big problem with that fight is there's the 2 frontliners for Alliance both have 2 lives. You've got Wraith King Reincarnation and Razor with an Aegis. So as a Doom, you're just like, how do I get in and approach this fight? He managed to doom the Jakiro, who was just sitting there spamming the Liquid Fire on the tower and the racks, which is definitely the right decision from Doom. But ideally, you want to be dooming someone like Razor to kill him off when he doesn't have an Aegis, but that play wasn't available to Z-Free. And it's just like, this is a game where there's just no really amazing Doom targets. There's no like, oh, you doom this hero, you're going to win the fight. It's like, well...
There's no Invoker, there's nothing like that.
You get a Beastmaster before he gets a Roar if it's pretty good, but Beastmaster's always... Like, when you're pushing high ground as Beastmaster, you're going to preemptively summon your Necrobook, so it's very unlikely you can catch Beastmaster before at least the Necrobooks come out. So the best case scenario, you're stopping a Roar. For the push, the Roar isn't like the essential ingredient. It's just having these tanky frontliners. Yeah, the Necrobooks, the Razor who's got his BKB up. Loader's actually gone for a Maelstrom, so he wants a bit more damage output, it seems.
Oh. 3 Tomes of Knowledge and a Hand of Midas later.
Exactly
okay,
there.
He's hit level 11. 32
right.
minutes in, he's got there.
He had a very defensive supernova in that last fight, which was the right play to make. Just made sure he got it off, and it resets his Sunray, which is the big spell which he offers to his team in that scenario.
The double boars, the bodyguards protecting the ramp to the Radiant, to the Dire jungle here for Alliance, but Hanskin.
The smoked up Complexity side.
Hanskin. You've been spotted, my friend. They still go on to EGM and Bulldog in the back as well, but the stun's not going to be enough until the ramp comes through and Bulldog drops. Nobody's not dead, just gets hurt for the Roar. Swindles is caught, and S4, he's battling through this with Loader on the front lines of Supernova again, very deep in the fight, defensive from RK, stopping the push up forward. But Alliance lost 2, and they didn't get anything in return, God.
They've got no buybacks as well. They commit the Supernova. That's really bad for Alliance now with their high ground defense. There isn't much sustain here to heal up Swindles, but key heroes Chessie and Limp both very healthy as they break
That's a lane
the
of
Alliance high ground.
I mean, Fire Spirits, they're going to piss Complexity off a little bit. You know, that attack speed slow is annoying. Is Limp scared about pushing high ground against the Wraith King, though? Because he does still have Reincarnation. Loader could potentially go in 1v5, use the ultimate, and buy time for Alliance.
They can ignore Loader as well and just hit the building.
That's very true. But Limp cannot ignore Sunray. Jeez.
And they lost that creep wave. It looks like Alliance will hold the melee racks, which is the important thing to note. And meanwhile, bottom lane, it looks like coL lost their range racks, so it was kind of a range racks for a range racks. Ultimately, Alliance will be happy not to have lost anything more there. And that was with Weaver having did he have the Heart of Trask, or he just picked that one up? Okay, I feel like if he had the Heart of Trask, he could have just gone high ground, ignored the Alliance heroes, and just committed to the melee barracks. Didn't quite have the survivability he needs, and well, Alliance will push things right back the way of Complexity.
There's guard there. Or Swindles. Oh, and EGM there. The two guys not within the smoke from Alliance. They do sit behind. Two trying to push into these towers, but Complexity, they're perfectly ready for this. Already sitting up on their high ground, and Chessie is preemptively pushed out bottom lane to make sure there are no nasty little creep waves coming in. What's the vision like for both of these sides, though?
Dog's got
the whole vision is great for Alliance. Let's see everything. Deep jumps and down, but the force down saves him for now. S4 looks for lift, drains his damage, but Swindle. There's no Ravage. 30 seconds until that comes back off cooldown to kill off Lion, but the Supernova again, very deep target, not really accomplishing too much. Left tries to turn to stun, but S4, he is tanky as all hell. They run through this, Deep's gone. The Sunray keeps Alliance alive, and they just keep on pushing through. Complexity on the back foot, and they have to sit behind their tier 3 as the Alliance force yet another buyback. Might even look towards the Roshan pit in a while. Complexity, they want vengeance. They're not done with this. EGM, is he going to be the sacrificial lamb here? Yeah. He walks back in towards Complexity, make sure that they can't go from him to a secondary target, give up his life. Complexity will have to be happy and satisfied with that one kill. While the Alliance do retreat, scout out Roshan and reset.
Those two buybacks are very costly for Complexity. When you commit those buybacks, you're really hoping to get those pickoffs and catch a couple heroes on the retreat. You've got two Blink Initiators in the DK and the Lion, but they weren't able to stop the TP of the Beastmaster.
1, 2, 3, the crits! Wow. Loda says goodnight to the Lion. Z-Freak, time to run. They wanted to sneak the Roshan, but Alliance keep on chasing Loda. The one-man ramp goes off the little bug. Should be Aegis and Cheese for Team Alliance.
I think coL may just have to force this here. They've got Ravage, and giving Alliance Cheese and Aegis after you've just committed multiple buybacks is definitely not what they had in mind.
They're not fast enough. Swindles is miles away.
Scouted out. Can Weaver get in there in time? He could go for the sneak.
He runs in, he tries it, the roll back. They want to look at as well. Chessie dropping low. They need a few more hits and he's gone. There's no time left back. They'll chase out Z-Freak as well. There's no buybacks here from Complexity. He's stunned, so he can't TP, and the Doom destroyed.
Oh, don't worry. Weaver stole Loda's wand. It's all worth it.
Oh, did he? Oh, no.
I mean, Alliance are just ready for it. They summon the Necrobooks. They had vision of the Weaver. They make sure they burst him down, and it was just an all-in. I think it's the kind of all-in play Complexity had to make, but Tide was just too far away. He wasn't in position to get there for the Ravage, and this stage, Alliance with Aegis, Cheese, Reincarnation, they will be breaking the Complexity high ground most likely.
We knew this would be pretty close game, 17-17, but it seems to have been Alliance always with the strategy and the plan to go forward, and they've done what they've wanted all game long, while Complexity have been the ones that have really had to react to what Alliance have been doing.
Alliance is just, I mean, it's the fact that Alliance has always got the threat to take towers, to push high ground. It's been Alliance who've been able to kind of control the tempo, dictate play, force Complexity to TP back, and
they're going tier 4s. At least S4 is.
Yeah, there's a tier 2 tower top, so at least get some good damage off. They don't have to fully commit to this, else. Ooh.
He's got Aegis on S4, and a Sunray behind him. Well, good luck doing damage to that lad. Swindles, of course, holding on to the Ravage, but EGM, oh, you poor little guy. Twin-headed Dragon, again, going to be a little kill off. Okay, so they have a stun to stop him. They've got a Hex from Lion. I'll get 2 there. 2 supports and not a big kill or anything like that for Complexity to call their own.
Yeah, I mean, Complexity posturing to almost just push down this middle lane, but again, it feels like there's always just like 1 or 2 heroes missing. You've got Tide still pushing out bottom. In previous fights, sometimes it's been Lion who's not there. It seems Complexity unable to ever get things kind of all synced up across their entire lineup and take the fight to Alliance.
You know when you pick up an enemy item, right? And it's the big, you know, F you to just destroy it or to deny it.
Yep.
Chessie is holding on to Loda's wand. It's a memento, you know? It's one of those little things. If they win this game, you know...
A reminder of how bad this game's going currently, perhaps.
Oh, magic wand and stash.
Maybe he's gonna use it as a peace offering for later. When Alliance come to push, it's like,
Please
I'll
don't
give you
kill
your
our
one back,
ancients.
Loader.
I know how much it means to you.
Yep.
It's going to be the BKB now. He finished off his Mjolnir over on the Wraith King. He's got another Mithril Hammer, so it looks like BKB anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of going to be the final straw, I feel, for Complexity at that point.
What did Ake build? Glimmer Cape after Hand of Midas. Okay. Complexity, they're going to go all in for that initiation. Swindles might even consider smoking himself up with Z-Freak.
Yeah.
Trying some kind of wrap. Yeah, they're drawing on the map to try and wrap around to defend the tier 2 at top. It's a last-ditch effort.
And only now do we see the Blink Dagger picked up for Swindles. I feel like this item needed to come up early. The 4-star rush
good.
was fine for me, but I think the Blink should have come afterwards because we've seen a few fights where Swindles was just couldn't get into the perfect position for a Ravage, was a little bit late, wasn't there to like join up with his team immediately. Like the Roche fight, he was just that little bit too far away. With a Blink Dagger, he can just get there a little bit quicker, get that better Ravage off. Get the jump on Alliance. When you've got BKBs, you want to like blink Ravage like right on top of a hero before they can get the BKB off, but he doesn't even have the ability to make that play. So,
They'd love to try and kill off S4. You know, we've seen Dooms onto S4 to try and stop him BKBing. But
if you blink into melee range of the S4 Razor and then just instantly Ravage, you'll get him before the BKB.
And then
9 times out of 10.
Finger of Death, the Dragon Tail, just try and chain stun him up.
It's definitely and Alliance don't have that great now with the Glimmer Cape on Phoenix. Perhaps they can save against that. They've also got the Sunray, but if you throw enough spells, you will be able to kill S4 at the start of the fight. But
throw spells and see what sticks.
Well, he's got Aegis. They're pushing high ground. Well, they're pushing for the tier 2, then high ground. But
how long does that last actually? 3 minutes? Another 2 minutes?
Yeah, another 2 minutes. And I mean, Complexity were drawing lines as if they want to catch Alliance by surprise at this tier 2 tower. But there's a Dire Ward spotting out Complexity's position as we speak. So very likely that's not a play that's going to work. Z-Freak's smoke has been scouted, so I imagine Alliance right now is even just telling each other like, okay, be ready for the smoke. They're likely going to try flank us, be it at the high ground push or at this tier 2.
There have been some really good observables from Alliance this game, and you know, you look back to pre-Shanghai Major, at Shanghai Major, and a lot of
They're
that
smoking under the ward. Yep.
Oh god. That's the thing. A lot of their wards do not get countered. I think that they're one of the teams with the fewest countered wards at Shanghai Major. S4.
Scan onto the Doom.
S4
is just going to run in to pop the smoke, if anything. That's probably the best play to make here for Alliance. The valuable Phoenix and Jakiro just as far away as possible.
Scouts with Hawk have one hero up on the front lines to pop smoke.
And Bulldog as well, hidden in the trees. He's a hero you don't want to have.
Oh god, look at it. He's miles away.
He doesn't want to get doomed or anything at the start of the fight. He wants to make sure he can get off his spells.
Does want to roar a Necro book, but Swindles is doing a similar thing as well. And I'll blink forward onto S4, but there's Loader stunned up. The Ravage is good from Swindles. And Z-Freak waiting for the Doom onto S4 now. Finally gets to the BKB, not forthcoming for the Sunray. It keeps him alive. Loader's still tagging through and has the cheese as well. Tipping over to the east. And Jesse just cannot stick on a target. Alliance are outlasting Complexity here, with S4 just running at them. Huskin, where do you go? Where do you go? You stand and you mana drain and you try and battle, but the buyback comes through from Complexity, trying to get themselves in this again. The armor from Lynn, but the Aegis is still held onto by S4. Alliance, they lost their Wraith King and he doesn't have BOTs. Complexity might have been able to turn this one back around, and S4 is definitely in trouble until the Sunray comes through from Arcade. The BKB finally pops, they kill off the Doom, and Swindles is in a spot of bother as well, tanking up, but that static link plus the 196. And S4 will have the oh yeah, Jesse's gone. Lift, buyback into dieback, ultra kill for S4 and Alliance. That team fight, they seesawed a little bit, but S4 was strong enough.
Yeah, Bulldog actually blinked in to initiate with Raw into the Ravage, unfortunately. Swindles was very much ready for the Beastmaster initiation. They burst down Bulldog before he even gets the Raw off, so things started very well for Complexity, but having Reincarnation and Aegis on the side of Alliance has proved to be a bit too much.
And then they mana drained Loader enough to kill him without Reincarnation popping. Well, so he fought back into that one. And he popped his cheese very early on, but it's going to be the third lane of racks here for Alliance to take. And
everything goes right for Complexity in that fight. They commit buybacks and they still lose pretty convincingly.
Tragic state of affairs for them. Chessy. Wraith King is right-clicking you down. Swindle's trying to buke it out with S4. Nothing doing there. The Alliance 5v2 at this point, looking for the throne. Z-Freak's gone and good game called. Alliance will take game 1 here against Complexity. Step 1 to being the best Swedish team in the world.
have more sweets.
Oh, yeah.
There's that one. Well, so
Fewer brothers, more sweets.
well, Complexity, they've been in this position before. Last time they met, it was a 2-1 victory at Shanghai Major, and that's something Alliance can be looking to get some vengeance for. So off to a good start here. And I mean, Alliance very solid. I think something that kind of Blitz kind of mentioned, it's just like that slight ease of execution for the Alliance draft, where